When disaster strikes, everyone scrambles for food. It's the first thing people fight over, the loudest thing, the most obvious thing, but here's the truth. Food alone won't save you. When the power's out, the water stops running, and your gadgets are useless without electricity, those stockpiled beans and noodles, they're not enough. Survival isn't just about calories, it's about the tools that make those calories count. The real lifesavers, they're not flashy, overpriced prepper kits. They're the cheap, overlooked items you probably already own, but never think about until it's too late. In this video, I'm breaking down 10 everyday tools that'll be worth more than food when everything falls apart. No fluff, no hype, just the essentials you need to stay alive. If you're serious about real survival, hit that subscribe button now. Let's get into it. 1. Plain white candles. The silent lifesaver. When the grid goes down, darkness doesn't wait. It takes over instantly. Most people will scramble for flashlights, batteries, or those rechargeable lanterns they haven't touched in years. But here's the hard truth. Batteries die, electronics fail, and solar gadgets don't always work when you need them most. That's where plain white candles come in. Not the scented ones, not the decorative jars, but simple, unscented utility candles. The kind you probably overlook until it's too late. Why are they so valuable? Because candles don't rely on electricity, charging ports, or fancy tech. They're reliable, durable, and incredibly versatile. Strike a match and you've got instant light, warmth, and even a way to start a fire. Unlike LEDs or buzzing lanterns, candles are silent. That silence is priceless in a crisis when you don't want to draw attention to yourself. A single candle can illuminate a small room without alerting the entire neighborhood that you've got working light. But it's not just about light. Candles can provide localized warmth, which is critical in freezing conditions. In a small enclosed space, like a tent or emergency shelter, even one candle can raise the temperature by a few degrees. Those few degrees can mean the difference between life and hypothermia. And let's not forget their trade value. When everyone else's batteries are dead and the world is plunged into darkness, a single candle becomes a survival currency. You can trade it for food, water, or even protection. Candles also have practical uses beyond light and warmth. Drip wax can seal emergency containers, waterproof matches, or even repair small gear when glue isn't available. They're lightweight, easy to store, and don't expire. My personal rule: I keep at least 3 dozen white candles, vacuum sealed, in my long-term survival kit. I test one every few months to ensure they burn properly and store them alongside waterproof matches and lighters. So here's the question. Do you have even one real candle in your kit? If not, you're gambling on someone else being prepared when the lights go out. And that's not a survival strategy. It's a mistake. 2. Empty plastic bottles. The hidden survival tool. Most people see empty plastic bottles as trash. They toss them in the recycling bin without a second thought. But in a disaster, when water stops flowing and clean storage becomes a luxury, those bottles transform into one of the most valuable survival tools you can have. That empty soda bottle you almost threw out last night, it could save your life. Why? Because plastic bottles are lightweight, durable, and designed for food-safe storage. They're perfect for collecting, transporting, and rationing water when every drop counts. In a collapse, clean water becomes more valuable than gold, and having a way to store it gives you control over your survival. You can fill, seal, and stack bottles to create a rotating stockpile of hydration while everyone else is fighting over bottled water at the store. But their usefulness doesn't stop there. Cut the top off a bottle and you've got a scoop, a funnel, or even a makeshift cooking pot. Need to catch food? A plastic bottle can be turned into an improvised trap for small fish or insects. And here's a game changer. Fill a clear bottle halfway with water and leave it in direct sunlight for 6 to 8 hours. The UV rays will disinfect the water, killing harmful bacteria. This isn't just a theory, it's a proven survival method used in the field. Now, let's talk trade value. In a world where clean water is scarce, offering someone a full jug of drinkable water or a leak-proof container can be worth more than their last meal. Bottles also serve as emergency flotation devices, storage for dry goods, or even insulation when stuffed with leaves or fabric. Personally, I keep a stash of 2-liter soda bottles, gallon milk jugs, and smaller juice bottles in my kit. I clean and dry them thoroughly before storing them, ensuring they're ready for use when the time comes. They're lightweight, stackable, and take up minimal space, perfect for any survival setup. So the next time you're about to toss an empty bottle, think twice. In a disaster, that trash could be the difference between staying hydrated and dehydration. 3. Basic hand tools. The backbone of survival. In a world run by machines, most people have forgotten the value of basic hand tools. They rely on power drills, electric saws, and apps to fix their problems. But when the power goes out and everything goes manual, the person with a simple screwdriver becomes the most valuable person in the room. We're not talking about fancy high-tech gadgets here. We're talking about the basics: a hammer, pliers, screwdrivers, a wrench, and maybe a small handsaw. These are the tools your grandparents kept in a rusty old box, and in a collapse that box becomes your lifeline. Why are hand tools so critical? Because survival means improvisation. When hinges break, doors jam, or containers leak, you can't call a repairman. You have to fix it yourself. A screwdriver can open locked compartments or repair loose fittings. Pliers can tighten straps, pull out nails, or adjust valves. A handsaw can break down wooden pallets for firewood or shelter. And a wrench? It can open gas valves, fix broken carts, or adjust pipe systems. But it's not just about repairs. Hand tools can also be used for defense. A claw hammer, for example, is not only a tool but also an effective deterrent in desperate situations. No one argues with someone holding solid steel, and let's not forget their trade value. When someone's shelter is falling apart and you have the tools to fix it, you're not just trading gear, you're trading stability and safety. My go-to setup includes a compact tool roll with foldable basics, a multi-bit screwdriver, needle nose pliers, a crescent wrench, a mini hammer, and a hacksaw blade. I keep them wrapped, sealed, and stashed in my secondary pack, not for daily use, but for when things start falling apart. Here's the reality: even the best stocked survival kit can fail if you can't fix what breaks. A snapped stove leg, a leaky water container, or a jammed door can turn a manageable situation into a disaster. The person with tools isn't just surviving, they're thriving. So ask yourself, can you fix what breaks, or are you relying on someone else to do it? Because in a collapse, the person with food eats first. But the person with tools, they're the one everyone turns to. 4. Heavy-duty work gloves. Your hand's first line of defense. When disaster strikes, survival isn't clean or easy. You're not sitting at a desk or scrolling through your phone anymore. You're hauling debris, chopping wood, fixing broken gear, and building makeshift shelters. And here's the harsh truth: if your hands fail, you fail. That's why heavy-duty work gloves aren't just a convenience, they're survival armor. Not the flimsy cotton gloves you find in a bargain bin, and definitely not garden gloves. We're talking thick, reinforced gloves made from leather, Kevlar blends, or rubber-coated materials. Why are they so critical? Because collapse means chaos. Broken glass, jagged metal, splintered wood, and sharp rocks become part of your daily reality. Every task, from clearing rubble to carrying firewood, puts your hands at risk. A single deep cut or infected splinter can slow you down or even take you out of the game entirely. And in survival, there's no room for hesitation. Gloves give you the confidence to act without worrying about injury. But it's not just about protection. In cold weather, insulated work gloves keep your hands warm while maintaining mobility. Try chopping wood or opening a frozen container with bare hands in sub-zero temperatures. It's a fast track to frostbite. Gloves also improve your grip, which is essential when lifting heavy objects or working in wet conditions. Now, let's talk trade value. Most people don't think about gloves until they desperately need them. They stockpile food, water, and batteries, but forget that their hands are their most important tools. Show up with a spare pair of heavy-duty gloves, and you've got serious barter power. People will trade gear, food, or even shelter, just to protect their hands and keep working. My setup: I carry 2 pairs. One pair of leather gloves for heavy-duty tasks, and a rubber-coated pair for wet or slippery conditions. Both are stored in waterproof bags, ready to go when needed. Because here's the reality: if your hands are injured, you're not just in pain, you're vulnerable. And in a survival situation, vulnerability is a luxury you can't afford. 5. Plastic sheeting. The ultimate multi-tool for survival. Most people think plastic sheeting is just for home improvement projects or painting walls. But in a survival scenario, it's one of the most versatile and valuable items you can have. Cheap, Lightweight and easy to store, plastic sheeting can do everything from keeping you dry to saving your life. Let's break it down. High-quality plastic sheeting, ideally 3 to 6 mil thick, can be used to create emergency shelters, patch broken windows, or cover exposed gear. When the roof leaks or the wind howls through shattered glass, plastic sheeting becomes your first line of defense against the element. In freezing conditions, you can use it to seal off a room and trap heat, creating a small insulated space to sleep in. But it doesn't stop there. Plastic sheeting is a game changer in wet weather. Stretch it between trees or over a line, and you've got an instant rainwater collection system. Clean water is survival gold, and plastic sheeting turns a downpour into an opportunity. You can also use it to build a solar still, purifying water when other methods fail. Need to treat an injury? Plastic sheeting can act as a sterile barrier, a makeshift stretcher, or even a body wrap to retain heat in a hypothermic situation. It's also great for food storage. Wrap your supplies airtight to keep them fresh and protected. And if you need to stay hidden, plastic sheeting can black out windows or block light, keeping you invisible when it matters most. Now, think about trade value. When the rain pours in or the roof collapses, people will pay anything for a simple sheet of plastic. It's not just a convenience, it's survival. My setup includes 4 folded drop cloths, each 6 mil thick in various sizes. 1 stays in my bug-out bag, 2 are in storage, and 1 is always in my car. They weigh almost nothing, cost next to nothing, but their value in a crisis is immeasurable. So, ask yourself, when the storm hits and your shelter fails, do you have a plan, or are you hoping someone else thought ahead? Because the person with plastic sheeting isn't just surviving, they're thriving. 6. Old towels and rags, the unsung heroes of survival. When people prepare for disaster, they focus on high-tech gadgets, tactical gear, and fancy tools. But the humble towel, the old rags stuffed in your garage, those are the unsung heroes of survival. In a crisis, everything gets dirty. Mud, blood, spills, leaks, broken gear, and open wounds. Without a reliable way to clean, dry, or absorb, things can spiral out of control fast. Let's start with hygiene. A towel isn't just for drying off after a rainstorm or emergency wash. When toilet paper runs out, a towel becomes a reusable sanitation cloth. Boil it, bleach it, and reuse it. No waste, no trash, just clean. In first aid, towels can be lifesavers. They work as field bandages, slings, pressure wraps, or padding for sprains and fractures. When sterile pads run out, an old towel can buy you precious time. Towels and rags also play a critical role in shelter. On a cold night, a towel can act as insulation inside a sleeping bag. Got a drafty window? Stuff a towel into the frame to block wind and noise. Need a pillow? Fold and roll it. And let's not forget their utility in cleaning. Rags are perfect for wiping down tools, cookware, or even filtering dirty water before purification. Now, picture this. It's been weeks since the collapse. Water is scarce, and everyone's towels are soaked or filthy. You show up with clean, dry cloths. Suddenly, you're the most popular person in the room. People will trade food, gear, or even protection for the simple comfort of wiping down and feeling human again. My setup includes 6 towels, 3 full-sized and 3 cut into smaller rags. They're rolled, vacuum-sealed, and stored with bleach tablets for easy cleaning. No fancy prints, no fluff, just durable, absorbent fabric ready for anything. So, here's the question. Are you ready for the grime and mess of survival? Or are you banking on someone else bringing the napkins? Because when things get dirty and staying clean keeps you alive, the person with old towels becomes the one everyone needs. 7 zip ties, the tiny tools that hold everything together. When disaster strikes and everything around you starts to break down, zip ties become the unsung heroes of survival. These small, lightweight, and dirt-cheap tools might seem insignificant, but they're capable of holding your world together when everything else falls apart. They cost pennies, weigh next to nothing, and yet their versatility makes them indispensable in a survival situation. Let's start with the basics. Repairs. When your gear breaks, straps snap, or your bag starts to tear during a bug-out, zip ties are your instant fix. No sewing kits, no duct tape, no glue. Just loop, tighten, and cut. They're fast, strong, and reliable, making them the ultimate quick repair solution. But that's just the beginning. In survival, time is everything, and zip ties save you precious seconds when you don't have the luxury of doing things the right way. Need to secure a tarp to a tree or fence? Zip ties. Reinforce a broken crate or container? Zip ties. Hang tools from your belt or attach a flashlight to a makeshift mount? Zip ties. They're the Swiss Army knife of fasteners, capable of adapting to almost any situation. But their usefulness doesn't stop at repairs. Zip ties can also be used for security. Imagine you're dealing with a looter or an intruder in your camp. 2 heavy-duty zip ties looped around their wrists, and you've got an instant restraint. It's not just a survival hack, it's a tactic used by police and military forces worldwide. And let's not forget their creative applications. Use zip ties to bundle firewood, hang food out of reach of scavengers, or even create makeshift handles for carrying awkward items. They can seal supply buckets, secure gear to your pack, or even help build an emergency shelter. In the right hands, zip ties can replace an entire toolkit. Now think about trade value. When everyone's gear is falling apart, broken straps, loose tarps, cracked containers, you pull out a pack of heavy-duty zip ties. Suddenly, those little plastic strips are worth more than gold. My personal setup includes 3 sizes: 4-inch, 8-inch, and 12-inch. I carry over 100 ties, bundled and stored in a waterproof bag. So ask yourself, are you ready for when things snap, rip, or collapse? Because when they do, the person with zip ties doesn't stop moving. They adapt, repair, and keep going. 8. Aluminum foil, the survival tool you're overlooking. Most people think aluminum foil is just for wrapping leftovers or lining a grill. But in a survival scenario, a single roll of heavy-duty aluminum foil becomes one of the most versatile tools you can own. Lightweight, heat-resistant, and moldable. Foil is far more than kitchen gear. It's a survival essential. Let's start with cooking. In a grid-down situation, you might not have access to pots, pans, or even clean surfaces. Aluminum foil allows you to cook directly over an open flame without dirtying your gear. Wrap food in foil to seal in moisture, roast it on hot coals, or even fashion a makeshift frying pan. It's simple, effective, and requires no cleanup. But foil's usefulness goes beyond cooking. In cold weather, it acts as a heat reflector. Line the walls of your tent or place it behind a fire and it will bounce heat back toward you, keeping you warm when temperatures drop. Need to signal for help? Foil's reflective surface can be seen from miles away. Use it as a mirror signal, a makeshift flag, or wrap it around a stick to catch attention. Foil also offers protection. Wrap your electronics like emergency radios or flash drives in multiple layers of foil and you've got a basic Faraday cage to shield them from an EMP or power surge. It's not perfect, but in a collapse, partial protection is better than none. Still not convinced? Aluminum foil can patch holes, wrap wounds in emergencies, and even serve as a windbreak. It can be folded into a water cup, shaped into a fishing lure, or used to cover a leaky roof. And when it comes to trade value, foil is a game changer. After weeks of open fire cooking, when everyone else's pots are blackened and their food is burnt, you pull out a pristine roll of foil. That's not just a convenience, it's a luxury. My setup includes 2 rolls of heavy-duty foil, one in long-term storage and one in my vehicle kit. The cheap, thin stuff, that's not survival, that's frustration. So are you stocked with the shiny silver sheet that cooks, reflects, and protects, or are you still thinking foil is just for leftovers? 9. Paracord, the rope that does it all. When it comes to survival, Paracord stands out as one of the most versatile and utterly essential tools you can carry. Originally designed for parachutes, this lightweight yet incredibly durable cord has become a cornerstone in survival kits for excellent reasons. Its inherent strength, impressive flexibility, and remarkable capability to handle a vast array of tasks make it an absolute must-have for virtually any disaster scenario you might encounter. Let's begin with its most primary and frequently utilized function: securing and binding. Whether your immediate need is to erect a sturdy tarp shelter for protection, meticulously tie down vital gear to prevent loss, or efficiently bundle firewood for warmth and cooking, Paracord consistently gets the job done with unwavering reliability. Its strength-to-weight ratio is truly unmatched, offering the significant advantage of allowing you to carry a substantial amount of cordage without adding any noticeable bulk or weight to your pack, a critical consideration in any survival situation. However, Paracord's versatility extends far beyond simple securing. Do you find yourself in need of gear repair? The inner strands, often overlooked, can be ingeniously unraveled and utilized as fine thread for sewing torn fabric or as a surprisingly effective fishing line for sustenance. If the situation demands ascending or descending, Paracord can confidently support an impressive 550 pounds, positioning it as a highly reliable and safe option for emergency climbs or descents. It can also be skillfully employed to craft various survival aids, such as snares for small game, traps for larger animals, or even a makeshift bowstring, allowing for primitive hunting capabilities. In the unfortunate event of medical emergencies, Paracord proves its worth as a multifunctional aid. It can serve as a life-saving tourniquet to control severe bleeding, be fashioned into a supportive sling for an injured limb, or used to securely tie a splint in place. During colder conditions, its utility extends to securing insulation within a makeshift shelter or creating an impromptu clothesline to dry wet gear, preventing hypothermia. Now, consider its immense trade value in a post-disaster environment. In a true survival scenario, where resources are scarce and ingenuity is prized, Paracord quickly transforms into a highly sought-after commodity. Its seemingly endless applications and practical utility make it one of the most desirable items for barter, and possessing extra on hand undoubtedly grants you significant bargaining power within a desperate community. My personal setup is meticulously planned, 100 feet of high-quality paracord, always neatly coiled and strategically stored within my main pack for easy access. Additionally, for immediate hands-on availability, I also wear a paracord bracelet. It's lightweight, incredibly compact, and fundamentally ready for anything the wilderness or a crisis might throw my way. So, truly ask yourself, do you possess the single rope that genuinely does it all? Because when disaster inevitably strikes, Paracord isn't merely a tool in your kit, it swiftly becomes an indispensable lifeline. 10. Duct tape, the king of quick fixes. If there is one solitary item that unequivocally belongs in every single survival kit, without exception, it is duct tape. This humble, unassuming roll of adhesive might not appear particularly impressive at first glance, but its unparalleled versatility, extraordinary durability, and sheer adaptability make it an absolute lifesaver when confronted with a disaster situation. Let's begin with its most common and vital application: repairs. From meticulously patching gaping holes in tents and tarps to performing robust on-the-spot fixes for broken gear, duct tape stands as the ultimate go-to quick-fix solution. Its inherent waterproof properties, remarkable weather resistance, and an uncanny ability to firmly adhere to almost any surface make it an invaluable asset in the unpredictable environment of a survival scenario. You'll be amazed at what it can temporarily or even semi-permanently mend. But duct tape's utility is far from limited to just repairs. Do you need to securely fasten a splint to an injured limb or firmly hold a bandage in place? Duct tape performs admirably. Is there a critical need to create a completely waterproof seal for a container or a makeshift shelter? Duct tape consistently delivers. It can even be ingeniously used to fashion rudimentary yet effective tools, such as the head of a makeshift spear or a surprisingly functional fishing rod from scavenged materials. In challenging cold weather conditions, duct tape can be skillfully employed to reinforce worn clothing, providing an extra layer of wind protection or to effectively seal crucial gaps and drafts in your shelter, thereby conserving precious body heat. When facing wet conditions, it proves invaluable for waterproofing essential gear, protecting electronics or important documents, or even constructing an improvised rain poncho from a plastic sheet. And in a desperate pinch, if you're struggling to start a fire, it can even serve as a readily available fire starter. Simply twist a length of tape into a tight, fibrous bundle and ignite it. Now, consider its truly immense trade value in a survival situation. When everyone else's critical gear is succumbing to wear and tear, falling apart, or simply failing, a single intact roll of duct tape suddenly becomes an absolutely priceless commodity. It's not just a mere tool, it's a tangible solution to a countless number of urgent problems and unforeseen challenges that will inevitably arise. My personal preparedness setup includes not one, but two robust rolls of heavy-duty duct tape. One is securely stored within my primary pack, ensuring its availability wherever I go on foot, and the other resides within my vehicle kit, ready for roadside emergencies or more extensive repairs. Furthermore, for those rapid no-fuss requirements, I always carry a few pre-cut, easily accessible strips wrapped conveniently around a water bottle or a smaller container. So are you truly prepared for those inevitable moments when things break, tear, or completely fall apart? Because when those critical moments arrive, the person who possesses the foresight and the duct tape doesn't merely survive, they undoubtedly thrive, demonstrating resilience and resourcefulness in the face of adversity. When disaster strikes, it's not the flashy gadgets or overpriced survival kits that will save you. It's the simple, overlooked items, the ones you can buy for pennies today that will become priceless when the world as we know it collapses. From zip ties and aluminum foil to paracord and duct tape, these tools aren't just cheap, they're essential. Each of these items serves a purpose far beyond what most people realize. They repair, protect, insulate, and adapt to the chaos of survival. They're not just gear, they're problem solvers, force multipliers, and lifelines when everything else falls apart. But here's the hard truth. Collapse doesn't wait for you to get ready. It doesn't care if you're stocked up or scrambling. When the shelves are empty and the lights go out, it's too late to start thinking about what you should have prepared. The good news, these 10 items are affordable, lightweight, and easy to store. There's no excuse not to have them in your kit, because when the time comes, it won't be the loudest or the richest who survive, it'll be the ones who planned ahead, who saw value in the small things, and who understood that survival is about more than just food. So take action now. Stock up on these essentials, test them, and make them part of your survival plan. Because when the world stops spinning the way it used to, these 10 cheap items won't just be useful, they'll be worth more than food.